Hey, Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated. And in this edition of Nerd's Guide to the Galaxy, we're going to talk about Discord versus Slack and why I'm switching from Slack to Discord. And the first thing I'll say is that if you look at pricing, right? Now, one of the things that motivated me to even look for an alternative to Slack, because I've been in Slack for years, used it extensively, and I love the app. However, when Salesforce bought Slack, I sort of knew right away, and I remember posting this a bit online, that they were going to do something with it that we weren't going to like. By we, I mean the small business community, because Salesforce is a big company that serves big companies. So I just knew it wasn't going to be good. And sure enough, Salesforce eventually came in as of September 1st of 2022. They changed the limits on free accounts so that where previously you were limited to just 10,000 messages. Didn't matter how much data, how many files, and how big the files that you could, drag and drop and store in Slack. You had up to 10,000 messages. That was the limitation on free accounts. Simple. And so I had myself, lots of my clients, and I had encouraged many other accountants and bookkeepers to use Slack, a dedicated Slack workspace for each client so that you could organize conversations, right? Because as I've said, if you use one Slack workspace and have a private channel for each client, then you might as well just be using WhatsApp, right? It kind of defeats the purpose. So I've guided a lot of people over the years to use Slack, and now they come in and kind of sabotage the whole plan. Now, granted, it's SaaS software. They put a lot of money into developing it, and they deserve to get paid for it. Would have been nice to get maybe more of a heads up, or I don't know, just something. It just seemed like they dropped a bombshell on us. Anyway, bottom line, Discord pricing, comparing Slack to Discord, much better deal, right? Because I can pretty much have all the features I need that I've gotten used to having in Slack and still have it for free. And even if I do start paying, and I have some paid Slack workspaces that I'm still in because I was already paying for them, so it didn't matter. But the difference is that in Slack, when I'm paying for it, I'm paying per active user per workspace, and that can add up quickly. I mean, you don't want to know what I pay each month for the 97 up Slack workspace. We have a lot of active monthly users, and I'm fine with it. But the point is, for a lot of small businesses who are trying to use Slack with their clients, if you have 3 or 4 or 5 active users, that can start to get pretty expensive pretty quickly. With Discord, you don't have to pay anything. If anything, you could pay for Nitro, which is $99 a year. That gives you some extra bells and whistles, and you can also pay for server boosts, as they're called in Discord, which again, just extra bells and whistles. By no means, in my experience so far, is there anything you would even need. It's more just for fun. You want some extra stickers and some other things you want to have a little bit more control over. In Discord, you can set up different roles for users, which is kind of nice. Slack doesn't have anything like that, or Slack has very limited, somebody's either an admin or, there's very limited in terms of roles. With Discord, you have very detailed a very detailed dialogue in which you can set up all different kinds of roles and be very specific about what a person in any of these roles can or can't do. So you actually have a much more robust area there in terms of features, and I got a little bit ahead of myself. Actually, not so much. Features is the next thing I wanted to talk about. So we have a much more robust roles area with Discord. And here I want to go to my screen and show you what I'm talking about at this point. With Slack, and you'll see I have my 97 up Slack workspace up here on my screen. Slack sort of forces you in terms of the structure here to put things in alphabetical order. Now, what I've done is I've created little sections here, right? So I've planted the apps, and this is all the apps. But that's only for me. In other words, this is when you create these sections, it's user specific. So anybody else that joins the Slack workspace is not going to have it organized like this. They would have to do this themselves. So what I've had to do is use prefixes, like for apps. You can see here all the apps related channels start with the word apps. Right? And then going down, I have my core stuff, okay? Then I have accounting, and that starts with ACCTG. So I have to use prefixes to kind of force things to be organized the way I'd want them to. Discord, by contrast, I can, all day long, I can set up these different folders, or what they're called. I think they're called folders. Let's see if I go, or channels, and then categories. They call them categories. Okay, so I can set up all the categories I want, and then I can drag and drop channels in each of these categories. and I can order things however I want. So we're in the Nerds Guide to the Galaxy Discord server. Here's the, for the Guide to the Galaxy podcast, I set up a channel for each episode so people can come in and discuss the episode that they watched. And, again, it's about keeping the conversations organized, categorized, and easily referenced. But if I decide I want the Great Resignation up here, I click and drag it, and that puts the Great Resignation here at the top, and it's the same for everybody. So this way, my users in my community don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to organize it themselves. I get to do it for them. Okay, one of the other things I really love about Discord that Slack doesn't let you do is I can create a read-only or a sort of view-only channel. So here is my announcements channel. I also configured this to be the default channel that Discord uses to, as you can see, post the announcement when somebody's joined. Right? So nobody else can post in here except for me. So if I want to post an announcement and let people know it's about something important, I can do that. And then as you can see, Discord gives you the extra visuals where I put, and this is very common. Anybody who's run a Discord server has done this because they've probably seen somebody else do it and thought, oh, that's cool, is notice for each folder or category and then each channel, I've got some kind of an emoji that I'm using to give it the visual. Right? And so I've got things organized in different sections or categories, and then the channels within that to make it easy. And as you can see, you can kind of zip things up to keep them nice and neat and organized. And so like I said, with Slack, I can create something like this, but it's only for me. The users have to create their own version of it. And even then, I'm still sort of limited in terms of, I don't have the sort of completely free ability that I have here in Discord to put things in whatever order I want to put them in, right? So that's some of the features. Messaging works pretty much the same in both Slack and Discord. I can, in the same way as I can communicate with people, we can post messages in channels. I'll go into our main sort of Hangout channel, which is here under Hangout, and then Chat, right? And so over here now, if I wanted to create a thread, let's say, this is me posting, just letting people know, hey, I just created a new channel for the latest episode of Guide to the Galaxy. But let's say I wanted to create a thread in here, called like holidays. Like, what are you doing for the holidays kind of discussion. So up here, I click plus. I create the thread. You can also click the ellipsis next to any message and turn that into a thread, right? But if I create a thread, I can name the thread. And then I can even make it a private thread, so only people who I invite and moderators in the community can see that thread. Now that's very different than the other thing I can do, which, and one of my complaints about Slack is I can reply in a thread. Like you see, we've got a lot of that going on here, but it's very easy to miss this. And unless somebody clicks on this option that also sends it to the main channel thread, it's easy to miss. I've gotten tagged in threads and couldn't find them, even though I clicked to, try and come over to where that was. But anyway, so I don't like the way Slack handles threads at all, and I love the way Discord handles threads. But the other thing you can do in Discord that you can't really do in Slack is I can just reply. Like, see here, Steven's got his comment, and he's saying he read the email, the newsletter that I sent out this week. And if I click here, reply, I can reply to the message, and you'll see I did that with this one. And what it does is it just summarizes so you can see exactly which message I'm replying to so you have context. And then I can write my reply so Stephen knows exactly what I'm replying to, right? And then he just gave a reaction letting me know he saw the message. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, so again, I love Discord. The distinction, first of all, between threads and just replies just makes it really easy to make it clear to people what you're replying to, and makes it really easy for people to see that, okay? Let's see if I can find an example. I'm going to go into the e-commerce community, and here's an example of what it looks like when there's a thread. So right now we have the live Q&A going on that was offered as part of the e-commerce course when I launched it, and I created a thread specifically under the water cooler chat so that people here could comment and focus on, just the scheduling and any questions we have about when we're going to be doing these live sessions. And I'll show you something. If I go to edit thread here, it's configured, and you have choices that if there's no activity, if nobody posts any comments or anything on this thread for a week, then it will automatically archive the thread. So this will go away, and you won't be able to see this. You'll just be back to seeing water cooler chat here without the subthread. And this is another thing that Discord does with threads that Slack doesn't do. It doesn't show you this as kind of like a sub channel. It just shows you the little indicator in the main thread, and then you click over and you can see everything on the right. And if you are looking for a thread that got archived because it had gone inactive, you can click up here where it says threads. And I'm going to show you the mobile apps too on both of these, show you the similar distinctions. And here I can see all the threads. So here's 2 join threads, okay, and then older threads. So if I want to revive one of these, right, let's say I want to go back to this one. Somebody had asked about shop canal versus AeroPress. I can click in here, and if I'm not going to because I don't want to confuse people, but you can see it's already showing it to me as a subthread now. But it's not going to keep that there unless I actually post something creating activity in it. If I click away, notice it goes away. But the main point is, even when a thread gets archived, it's accessible, but it just keeps things clean and easy and organized, right? And nobody loves being organized better than I do, right? So I love that. I love the fact that it shows you online users. Another thing is in Slack, if I want to have a direct message with Juan here, and let's say Juan and I share other workspaces, right? Each one of our direct message conversations is unique to that workspace. Whereas in Discord, you basically, the individual connections are separate from the server that you're in, and then you can see what servers you have sort of shared with them. So if I click up here where it says direct messages, this is where I could go in, and if I wanted to have a chat with Caleb here, I could click in here and have a chat with him, and it doesn't matter what server I'm in with him. I could be in 5 different servers with him, and by the way, that's what they're called in Discord. They're called servers. It's the equivalent of what you call a workspace in Slack. Right? And so it doesn't matter what servers I have with him. My DM conversation is singular with him, global across all of Discord, which brings up another thing that I like about Discord better than Slack, which is the following. Notice in my Slack application, the global app, I have all these different workspaces, right? Because again, over the years, I've created workspaces for each client, and I have other workspaces for other purposes. There's the Genius Sheets user community, right? Problem is, if I go purchase a new device, if I get a new tablet or just another computer, and I log into Slack, I have to log into each one of these workspaces individually. It's a pain in the butt. And I have to remember all the workspaces that I need to log into. And over the years, there have been a ton of workspaces that I might have gone into for a minute and then left, and they all still show up in my history. So it can be a real pain in the ass to figure out what to log into and how to get logged in. Whereas in Discord, once I log into my one Discord account, everything's here. All these servers will be here. So big difference. Now, let me switch over to my mobile app for a minute. Okay, so here I am on the Slack mobile app. You can tell I'm looking at the exact same channel. And similar to Discord, you'll see Discord in a minute. I can swipe left or right. I get confused between my left and right now that I'm getting older. I can swipe right, and you can see I've got all the same channels, all the same layout. Again, the different sections that I've created in Slack, but again, these are unique to me. So, I took the time to organize these. I wish I could just sort of share that with everyone else, but I can't. But still, it's pretty easy to navigate. And of course, I use the jump frequently because I know what I'm looking for, right? So if I'm looking for like e-commerce, we have an accounting e-commerce channel. Pretty easy to jump in there with Slack, right? So swipe left, I've got access to all my channels. It's all there. Swipe right, that is. Swipe left, I'm back there. There's no more swipe left in Slack. You'll see in Discord, if I swipe left an additional time, I get that same list that's on the desktop app on the right where I can see who all the online users are. Right? So the mobile app in Slack, like I said, I love Slack. It's very good. I just think Discord is a whole lot better. And so again, here we have threads. If I can tap on a thread here, I can see it. Okay, and funny enough, there's one asking about Discord versus Slack, so he's going to be happy when I post this video. Now let me switch over to Discord, okay? And here in Discord, again, we're in the Guide to the Galaxy, so I can swipe right, and again, I get my list of channels. You can see my different Discord servers there on the left, so I can switch easily. I can jump into e-commerce. Notice it holds, right? It holds the sidebar there for me. So if I decide, do I want to switch back to Guide to the Galaxy, there it is. Or let's go to e-commerce. See how easy that is with the thread for the live Q&A? Even and especially on the mobile app. This is what makes me love a mobile app, is when the experience gives you everything you have access to With the desktop application, it's just sort of neatly tucked away because you're dealing with a smaller screen. And once again, I can see who all the users are from this particular Discord server who are online right now, and I can access my DMs with those individuals. And again, same thing. The DMs or direct message conversations with each of these people is global. It's not specific to that server, so that I have one conversation with one individual no matter where they are. See, there's Caleb again. I like Caleb. He's a good guy. And actually, that brought up his profile. And then if I want to message him, I just tap message. Very easy. Okay, and then there's also some other stuff you can see if you go back over to his profile. I can do a voice call, video call, so it's got all that stuff, right? And then I can just go back to my community, and boom. So messaging, very easy, right? I can type in here, type a message. I can add photos, whatever I want. You know, very, very easy to do everything there. Same as Slack. Right? So a lot of, pretty much it's like, it's going to sound funny when I say this, but, anything Slack can do, Discord can do. And a lot of the things, my opinion, of course, Discord can do better, right? I definitely like the layout better. And like I said, I like the thread handling far better in Discord. Mobile apps are pretty comparable, but I also generally like Discord better. And again, like I said, even if I was just putting Slack on this phone for the first time, I would again have to individually log into each separate Slack workspace, whereas Discord, I just log into the Discord app and all my servers are there, right? Easy peasy. All right, let's go back to my screen. So we talked about messaging, we talked about replies and threads, talked about apps and login and the differences, right? And then the last thing I want to talk about here that I really like about Discord, if I want to find like interest groups that use Slack, I can search on Google and I can find and I can join and get approved. Discord has it built in right on the app. So look down here and notice I have the DJI community. I own a DJI Mavic 2 Zoom drone. I love to fly it, and I love to see what other people do with their drones. So I went and clicked here, Explore Public Servers, and I searched DJI. So just curious. What happens if I search QuickBooks? So there's no QuickBooks communities in Discord. Hello, opportunities knocking for somebody to create a Discord QuickBooks community. But the point is there's lots of communities that exist here based on other interests you might have, and you can just add them in and have them at your fingertips. Now, mind you, this is a very, very active server, so I muted it. Right? And when you mute servers, I just unmuted it so I could show you. If I mute it, similar to Slack has something similar to this. I can do it for a set period of time or until I turn it back on. So this one I keep permanently muted because it would be way too noisy. But I like to just drop in here and check in. And like I said, I love to watch the video footage that other people shoot with their drones and they post it here. It's really, really cool to see. So in addition to the sort of obvious use cases and the ones that we often talk about, I love the fact that there's other communities in the bigger Discord community that I can get access to. And it just keeps things interesting. It keeps life interesting. So I'm starting to move things over to Discord from Slack. I've got a couple of clients set up here in Discord now. Any ones that I'm paying for in Slack already, I'm going to keep. 97 and up, I'm keeping in Slack because we have years and years of history in there, and there's no way to migrate that stuff over. I wish there was. Plus, I think the community would kill me if I asked them to switch. Because again, for years we've gotten really used to how we work in Slack. Plus, like I said, I'm already paying for it anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. It would save me some money if I switched everybody over to Discord, but it wouldn't be worth it for the strife I would cause for all the existing members. And the members, or my clients, as I like to call them, are more important than me saving myself a little bit of money paying for it. So that's the story, my friends. Of course, if you have any questions, you'll find a channel in my Guide to the Galaxy Discord server on this very article and video and blog post where you can, ask your questions. I would be more than happy. In fact, I can't wait to have you join the community there so you can start getting a feel for how Discord works. And I would love to answer your questions, or if you disagree with me, if you think Slack is better, I'd be open to that. I would love to hear, come in there and say, hey, here's why I like Slack better. I'm not going to argue with you. I'd be curious. Maybe I'll learn something. I'll get a different perspective. That's the whole point of a community, right? So that we have dialogue and we can respect one another's difference of opinions and actually appreciate and learn from that stuff. So come on into the Guide to the Galaxy Discord server and let me know. Like I said, even if you like Slack better, come in and let me know that, and let me know why. And be prepared. If you tell me that, I'm going to ask you why. I'm going to want you to explain to me why you like it better. Don't just come in there and say, oh, I like Slack better, right? That's not a conversation. I want to have a conversation with you. And that is the point of any of these apps that we use when it comes to creating apps for the purpose of bringing together a community, right? That's the name of the game here at the end of the day, is it's all about community. As always, I hope you had some fun here, learned something along the way. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in the galaxy.